Comedian Bill Burr says that billionaires need to be picked off like rats.
People that are struggling out there because of these billionaires. And they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much fucking money in this country. And there's so much work being done, you know. And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get a fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country. Because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so, at least these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
Now, Bill Burr has been trending left in recent years. I think he's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy, but he's been trending left, unfortunately. I don't know why. I don't know what's been pulling him lib in recent years. But the reason that people are struggling right now in particular in this economy is inflation. And the reason that we see inflation is not because of the billionaires. It's because politicians printed too much money because they were buying votes. That's why. It's really not the billionaires. I'm not even a big defender of most billionaires. Most billionaires are huge libs, and I don't feel any need to defend them because they undermine my vision of the country consistently. But fair is fair. This is not the billionaire's fault. Inflation is not the billionaire's fault, okay? I was with him on a lot of what he was saying. It's crazy that kids don't get to see their parents, because their parents are working so much. I agree. I think that's terrible. I think we need a fundamental change to our political economy. The fact that women are expected to work a job now for a wage, that's bad. But mommy should be able to stay home with the kids if she wants. For many women, that's not the case. I agree. I think there are a lot of problems. I think the inflation is out of control. That's a political problem. It's not just a billionaire problem. I guess what's wrong about what Bill Burr is saying here is it's a leftist analysis of the situation that makes the mistake that leftists, including Karl Marx, up to and including Karl Marx, often do, which is that he mistakes man for a fundamentally economic creature, and man is not a fundamentally economic creature. We are not just defined by our money. We are not motivated purely or even primarily by money. Man is more than that. Our politics is not defined fundamentally by material divides and by classes of material wealth. There's just more going on. Ideas have force in the world. Even all the other stuff that leftists sometimes talk about. Race has force in the world. Sex has force in the world. Great power struggles have force in, it's not just, it's so reductive and just wrong, just stupid. So it's the billionaires. I mean, there are plenty to blame billionaires for. Some billionaires, not all billionaires, okay? Not all, who are you talking, you people? But there's plenty to blame some billionaires for. But this isn't it. I don't know. I don't know what's gotten into Bill Burr. There's so much more to say. First, though, go to donewithdebt.com. Do you wish you could have jumped into last year's stock market boom? I get it. When credit card bills and debt are piling up, investing feels impossible. But here's some good news. Done with Debt has your back with a fresh approach to tackling those money headaches. Their team of negotiators and legal experts go to bat for you, working directly with credit card companies and lenders to slash those bills, wipe out interest charges, and get rid of those pesky late fees and penalties. They've got a proven track record of putting more money back in people's pockets, money you could use to start building that investment portfolio you've been dreaming about. Think about it. Instead of watching your hard-earned cash disappear into minimum payments, you could finally start growing your wealth. Bottom line, Done with Debt helps turn crushing debt into financial freedom. But some of their strategies are time-sensitive, so do not wait. Start building the life you deserve. Go to donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their strategists. It is free. You go to donewithdebt.com. Donewithdebt.com today. Do not wait. I know how brutal debt can be for people's lives. Go to donewithdebt.com.
Mr. Knowles, in honor of your recent Music Monday with The Weeknd, I wanted to ask if you've ever found yourself placing your wife too high on a pedestal next to the Almighty. In my collegiate years of debauchery and groping in the darkness, I prayed for the blessing that is my beautiful wife, and in the fullness of His time, God blessed me with her and now 2 beautiful children. She has led me back to my faith, and we have grown stronger for it. However, there are at times that I feel a pull mentally to place her higher than my Savior, or just below Him. I wonder if I'm starting to worship her more than I am God. Am I doing something wrong? If so, how would you suggest one course correct? May our Almighty Father continue to be a blessing in your life.
Okay, no, I've not had that problem with my wife. Though I love my wife as much as is possible for a husband to love his wife. But I've not had that problem of confusing my wife for God, because I love my real wife. It's not just that I love the idea of my wife or some mistaken conception of my wife or some kind of poetic tool of my wife. You know, I mean, what you're describing kind of reminds me of Dante writing about Beatrice, who he doesn't place higher than God, but she is a kind of Christ figure who plays this role in his salvation. But Beatrice is this woman that he met twice in his whole life, and she died very young. He met her when they were 9 or something. And, you know, so Beatrice is more an idea for Dante than a real flesh and blood human being. And that sounds like what's happening with your wife. Your wife is kind of an idea for you. You're considering this idol, you know, rather than the actual human being who's before you. So I don't have that problem, because maybe it's because you say you've met your wife later or whatever. I've known my wife since we were 11 years old. And so I love my wife so much because I know who she really is so well. You know, and so I don't confuse her for God. I know my wife is sweet little Elisa, and I love sweet little Elisa, and that allows me to love her in an appropriate way, knowing that I'm her husband, you know, and she's my wife, and I'm not going to confuse her for God or anything like that. It just seems like you need to pay more attention to your wife, who your wife really is, and love her appropriately. Because if you make an idol out of your wife or something, if you become king simp or something like that, you know, that won't be good for her. That won't be good for you. It will just really pervert, you know, the order of love. Actually, to use a popular phrase of the last 2 weeks, that would be a corruption of the Ordo Amoris. That's a good clip, huh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ring the bell, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. See you next time.